There's a concept that's been around for some time. A bunch of philosophers have had their positions on it. And it's the idea of master versus slave. And usually it's presented in first a sort of mindset, the difference between thinking like a slave and thinking like a master. And then you start to see, structures in society that are pointed out, relationships that sort of reflect that dynamic of master versus slave. Well, to add a little bit of my 2 cents to the conversation, I think what's lost in the dynamic when it's really put on observations that people make, when they look at the relationships that people experience, is the distinction between somebody who is following a master, so to speak, and somebody who is looking to sort of represent, model, emulate the pinnacle of the expression of a role. I would say commonly we understand the samurai to fit this role, where the idea of it is, historicity aside, at least the way we understand, the samurai role today, it's their master almost didn't matter. It was really how dedicated were they to being as honorable as possible. Master be damned. I think when looking at the master-slave dynamic between, or through that lens, we start to see that it's not about just being the person in charge. It's not about being the person that controls other people. If you've ever, followed any of my content and I start talking about self-power and the value of self-power, I really think it transcends this model. If anything, it takes it and allows each one to sort of adopt a master's mindset, adopt a control that's led purely by the standards and the criteria of the individual. I've had to sort of find a way to make sense of the fact that so many great, respected, I would say, virtuous men throughout history were employees, were cogs in a machine, were a component of a system. And I think one of the ways that I'm able to do that in a way that makes sense is I make the distinction between, is this person doing everything in their power to gain the approval of the masters of the aquarium that they happen to be subjected to, or are they following a transcendent set of standards and criteria that allows them to bring to fruition the purest, strongest, most powerful version of themselves? So what's the utility of this? I'd say the big value is that it starts with you. It's an internal process, an internal journey. Your circumstances, and if these last couple of years have showed us anything, is that our circumstances, the environment that we're put in, can change on a dime. And when it pivots and we're not prepared for it, and everything in our identity is anchored to the position we have in that environment, then we wind up losing who we are in the process. I would offer a different route, and that is an almost maniacal pursuit of self-understanding, and the benefit being the self-power that happens as a result. Just some thoughts.